Maura, how about we start with the injury report? Jess Healy?
They're still day-to-day, Jess and Jalen.
What is Jalen's? When did she
Head injury at practice last week.
Okay.
So.
I was going to say, I don't remember seeing her.
No, practice injury, those ones are tough to swallow, but they're both improving every day, and we just want to be smart with when they come back, make sure they're 100% or as close to it as possible.
Reagan Haley, is she going to take a red shirt this year?
It's looking that way.
That way? Okay.
We'll see, but that's probably the direction it's going in.
Okay. I'm going to write about Demi Crossman next week, one of the seniors I haven't gotten to. Kind of tell me about her. I've always thought of her as the bad girl of the program with the penalty minutes. I think at one time last year she was actually beating out Carson Susie, who was leading the men for minutes. What does she bring to the team? It seems like she's a real high energy player on and off the ice.
She is, yeah. I think I've called her the agitator before, and I think what's been nice over the process of her career is, especially in that North Dakota series, she agitates other teams, and then they take the penalties versus her taking quite as many, and then she's drawing them into the box at the wrong time of game, which is helping us win. So she plays with an edge, that's for sure. She's a great skater, very strong. You see her with her one hand on the stick quite a bit and pushing other kids off of her, and she put in the time in the weight room, especially this summer, to be able to do that. And on the bench, she's always talking, she's firing our team up. She is certainly a high energy player.
Has she become kind of a smarter agitator this year than maybe in years past?
I think so. I mean, when you play on the edge like that, you're going to make some mistakes, and she's taken some penalties that she'd probably want back. But at the same time, just 2 weeks ago, I key in on that North Dakota series where, she drew some of their best players into really bad penalties at bad times. And those games were very tight, and without those penalties, who knows what would have happened. So we like having her on our side.
Besides being an agitator, what else does she, and an energy player, what else does she bring to the team?
Well, I think a lot of experience. She's been in just about every spot on this team. Earlier in her career, not playing a lot, whereas now she's playing a regular shift. You see her in special teams, but sometimes not. And I think a player like that, who's a senior on the team, can relate to a lot of players in different spots. And younger kids look to her for advice, and I think she's a great example of, just stick with it and keep working hard, and you'll get your opportunities.
What did last weekend in Madison, what did that show you about your team, especially getting out that 1-1 tie on Saturday?
Yeah, the tie on Saturday, I can't even say enough about. I don't think anybody in the country was expecting us to take a point from Wisconsin that weekend, including Wisconsin. I think you look at the roster, and it definitely, was tilted in Wisconsin's favor. But our players, what we talked about that week was the regulars stepping up, and then the kids that don't play a lot filling holes, and that's what great teams do, right? You don't skip a beat. But it was a pretty big challenge to do that, and they did exactly what we asked of them. I think Michelle Lovenhielm on defense was unbelievable on Saturday. She hasn't played D since last year when Heels was hurt. She practiced twice there, and she was shutting down Wisconsin's potent offense, and that was incredible. And then you have players that you normally expect to put the team on their backs, like Sid Morin, like Brick, like Maddie. They played outstanding, and that tie was just incredible. I mean, Sid was in the box for the last 2 minutes of the overtime, and she's one of our best penalty killers. She played over half the game, if not more, on Saturday. And then when she's in the box, you're like, oh boy. And we got it out. We figured out a way to steal that point, and then it took them 12 rounds to beat us in the shootout. It was an unbelievable game. I think the fans got their money's worth, and that's more like what people want to see out of the 1 and 2 matchup. Sunday, unfortunately, I think we played basically 2 games in that one game on Saturday with the shortened bench, and they gave everything they had on Saturday and didn't have much left on Sunday. But we just focus on the fact that we did walk in there and take a point away from them when we weren't expected to do so.
Team excited that this week could be the start of 3 of the next 4 weeks here at home, and do you start treating this first weekend kind of as postseason play in order to secure that chance to spend the next 3 of the next 4 weeks here?
That'd be nice. Yeah, I guess we haven't talked so much about the home games coming up, more so just what's right in front of us, and the next game is always the biggest game for us, and I think we're excited because Stalder and Kaka are back, so we have them back today for the first time this week, and going into St. Cloud, they're playing good hockey. They're in 5th place right now, and I think these are huge league points for us, obviously, and huge momentum games as we head into the playoffs.
What's allowed this team to be so strong at home this year so far?
I think just being in our own locker room, in front of our own fans, probably in our own beds, and we've had some amazing games here. And I think when you think back to our opening weekend against BC, beating Wisconsin here, sweeping the Gophers, you have a lot of positive memories, and I think that helps them have confidence when they play here.
You talked about momentum. For a one-point weekend, it almost feels like you kept some of your momentum going out to Madison. So, I mean, is that something that, even with a shootout loss and what happened Sunday, that this team still feels like it's kind of riding a wave as you get to the end of the season here? Yeah,
we talked to them about having a short-term memory. The 8-0 loss, yeah, it was, not great, but we could have lost 3-2 and 2-1 on the weekend and walked out with 0 points with closer scores. What does that get us? Nothing. So to have that point, like I talked about with the group that was here, says a lot about the team, and we talk a lot about team depth and how important that has been to our success. And I think they rose to the occasion, and they just keep building confidence because they did that without the players that a lot of people want to talk about all the time. And I think it shows that we have great team unity, and we have a ton of heart. And it's pretty exciting as we become more of our full roster this week. We'll see about what happens on the D end, but gaining Stalder and Kaka back, those are huge pieces, and I think we feel really good about our future.
I can't remember if it was you or somebody else. Maybe after that Gopher series, we talked about maybe needing to create some emotion for a series like St. Cloud State. But as you get near the end, even versus last weekend, do you think that you don't need to create that emotion for the series that you got coming up?
I hope not. I think, one, it's senior day on Saturday. This is the last regular season series for our seniors to be playing here. So if you can't play for them, I don't know what you can play for because they've been outstanding all year. 2, I think we're well aware of the national picture and the standings, and we talk about it pretty regularly. So these guys know how big these 6 points are this weekend, and if we sweep and Wisconsin sweeps, what that can do for our program. So I don't think we need anything outside of those few things I just mentioned.
I was talking with Catherine DeWoo yesterday about Sunday's score. She felt that the team played better than the score showed. Do you kind of agree with her take on that?
I think, Wisconsin's a very good team, and that's what makes Saturday so special, getting that tie, because they just come at you in waves, and they have 3 fantastic lines filled with future Olympians, definitely U18 gold medalists, and a lot of confidence. And I think on Saturday, we clearly figured out a way to stop them. We were smart. We were hustling. We made it very difficult in our D zone for them to get anything through. And when they did, Maddie came up huge. On Sunday, I think we just lost our legs a little bit. So it wasn't for lack of trying, but when you're fatigued, your mind goes, and then the legs go, and you can't do the things that you know you need to do. So the heart was there, the work ethic was there. It's just the legs weren't.
Just one game, but were there some players who stepped up in that opportunity that you talked about and maybe kind of gave you something that you can use now that once you get closer to a full lineup in situations that maybe you wouldn't have 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, like I said, Michelle, on the back end, depending on what happens with Elms and Healy, she might be there again this weekend, which is just, I mean, that versatility, we've talked about it with Stalder, but to have another player step up and switch positions like that, it's very difficult to go from forward to D against Wisconsin and their speed. She's the one that I key in on most. We had forwards, obviously, that played more minutes than they normally do, and that's encouraging moving forward, because you never know when we're going to need them again, and that depth, as I always mention, is really key in playing deep into March.